Well, Broncos country, what is poppin', man? It's your boy Mark here with Marky Sports. Hope y'all having a wonderful day. We have wrapped up mandatory minicamp. Broncos are officially on summer break, and us fans are gonna be struggling for the next 5 weeks trying to figure out what the hell we're gonna talk about, man. But for the next 5 weeks, the team is off before training camp starts at the end of July, and there are several different things that this team needs to do, in my opinion, in that time frame before camp starts. But one of the main ones is the Courtland Sutton situation. There has to be some sort of clarity, regardless of the direction that they're in. We're going to break down why that is, man. So like and subscribe, guys. Join the community that we got here, man, of great Broncos content creators. We do it for y'all, man, and we hope you guys enjoy it. So let's get right to it without further ado. So Courtland Sutton, man, let's talk about the situation. So after a practice today, Sean Payton, had some words. Didn't really talk too much about Courtland Sutton. In general, he just kind of gave a brief wrap up. He was in a little bit more of a put people in check type of mood, which was awesome to see. He was killing me, man. He put some reporters in check. But what was interesting about it is that per some reports, and I don't know how if it's confirmed or not, Courtland Sutton was supposed to talk to the media, but they ended up canceling that, or he just ended up not, because obviously he knows that a lot of the questions that are going to be happening, or if pretty much all of them, will be related to the contract situation. So I think it's an understandable PR move. But what that kind of tells me is that it's already a distraction, right? And the vibes of this team are good, man. The vibes right now are solid. Everything is positive. Bo looks great. The defense got crazy high expectations. The addition of J.K. Dobbins gives a wonderful weapon to the run game. It just looks like everything is heading in the right direction. The last thing that you want are these annoying type of distractions, and that is something that this Courtland Sutton situation could bring up. Secondly, after he held out a little bit, or expressed his want for a new contract last season, they ended up coming to an agreement. The Broncos, they put in some incentives, about $2.5 or $3 million extra. A lot, made the incentives very feasible. He balled out. He did his part, and there was a sweetheart deal. They said, listen, if you go out and you perform and you get these incentives, we're going to get you a contract in the future, right? And I think that it's really important to keep your word on that, because George Payton and Sean Payton have done such a wonderful job of flipping the culture here in every way. And one of the big ways that they've done that is by not just paying guys early, but paying their own guys, developing their own dudes, right? Garrett Bowles last year, Jonathan Cooper, PS2, Quinn Miners, just to name a few of guys that were extended early last season of their own guys before the season started, because they didn't want any distractions. Obviously, they got the Courtland deal taken care of as well. So it's important that happens this year. We have Courtland Sutton situation. You got Zach Allen, who is due for, a pay raise. John Franklin Myers potentially, Nick Bonito potentially, and maybe even someone like a Malcolm Roach. But I love that vibe. I think that was a big, reason why the team was able to overperform last year. I think it's important that we keep on doing that. So it's going to be interesting. Now, what I mean by we need clarity, it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to extend him or we have to, do anything to his contract. But frankly, we just need an answer, right? And the answer is going to come in the form of he's either going to get a new deal or he's not going to be on the team. And I think not being on the team is very, very, very unlikely. And I certainly would not. A lot of people label me as a Courtland Sutton hater, but I certainly would not advocate for that. But I would like for the teams to come together, for both sides to come together and be able to get something done with Courtland Sutton. Now, if you're asking me, when it comes to his contract, he's getting paid the $20 million that he's earning this year. I think it's like 22nd in the league. A lot of people are going to think, oh, no, he deserves more. I disagree. I think that he's actually getting paid a very fair amount given his production and the type of player that he is. That's just what I feel. But I also understand that he's got some of the leverage, right? He's clearly the best and most productive wide receiver on this team. Him and Bo Nix have a wonderful connection. Whether he's a true wide receiver one or not, it's kind of an irrelevant debate when you're talking about this. And it's not like the Broncos have a very clear succession plan for him. They've got a lot of guys that they're hopeful for. And as I've said a million times, hope is not a strategy. So I think the way that I would look at it is this. All right, he's going to get $20 million if he makes the team. If we cut him, hypothetically, we would only save $7 million. So he's guaranteed $13 million regardless. So what you do, obviously, you just make the $20 million this year guaranteed. You maybe have an extension I personally would say give him another 1 year deal, a 1 year extension on top of this. You're fully guaranteeing the $20 million this year, and give him, maybe $25 million next year with half of that guaranteed or whatever it might be. Or maybe you spread it out over 2 years, give him like a 2 year deal worth $40 million, $25 million in new guaranteed money, something along those lines where, you're committing to him essentially for this year and probably next year and nothing more beyond that. And I think that would be a really fair deal. That would probably get it done, but we'll see what it ends up being. And I highly doubt it's going to be another incentive-laden deal. It would be great if it was for the team and for the player, but not necessarily for the player. But you want to get this situation taken care of. I think it's extremely important, just given where, like, the timeline, where we're at in the offseason, and also where we're at as a team, as a football organization, and what we're looking to accomplish. And I think this deal is going to be one of the easier ones to get done, aside from like the Nick Bonito deal, in comparison to like the Nick Bonito deal. If you got that, if you did that now, or the Zach Allen deal, those ones could be a little bit more extensive, longer, more years, more guaranteed money, things like that. But I would like to see them all get done before camp for sure. But Courtland Sutton's mainly done prior to camp because you don't want any. I don't think he's going to hold out. Mike Kliss talked about it today on the Fan after practice. He says even if they didn't get a deal done before training camp, he wouldn't envision a holdout because of the fines and really just the kind of person that Courtland Sutton is. So that doesn't mean that if it's not done before camp, it's not going to get done. But it would be nice to just go in there with zero distractions, man, and just have this team focusing on building on the awesome momentum that we have from the 2024 season heading into this year. So I think the timeline, I mean, there's always deadlines. Deadlines always produce progress and they produce results. And I would be pretty surprised at this point if we don't have clarity, we don't have a resolution to the Courtland Sutton contract before training camp. Mike Kliss talked about maybe like a week or two before would be a good time frame. I think that's something that would make some sense. But we'll see. These next 5 weeks are going to be really interesting. Players are going to be gone. They're going to be on their vacation doing their own things. Some guys are going to remain in the building every day. But the front office and the coaches, they're going to be in. They might take a week. They might come together and say, take a week, maybe 2 weeks off. But then they're going to come back and they're going to really get this rolling and talking to agents. So that's what I would like to see, man. And ultimately, I think it's something that makes a lot of sense. There's rumblings out there, right? Terry McLaurin is unhappy with his contract situation there in Washington, and people are saying, "Oh, why don't we just trade, Sutton for McLaurin?" It's such a difficult thing to project, and it's just very unlikely. But what I do think is relevant between both of those situations is, if the Courtland Sutton contract gets done first, that's going to spur a contract getting done with Terry McLaurin. And vice versa. I think if McLaurin and the Commanders come together and they get a deal done, then it'll give us an idea of what Courtland Sutton's camp might look at, which might be a little bit more of an incentive for us to get the deal done first. And maybe Courtland Sutton's agent saying, let's wait it out, because that gives them leverage, because they would project that Terry McLaurin is going to get a pretty decent contract if he was to come to terms with that. And so that could make it interesting too. There's so many different factors that come into it. But I'm going to say this again, guys. Even though I don't think Courtland Sutton is, a top 20 receiver in the NFL, right? And I've said that. It is clear that having him on this team is the best thing for 2025. And I'm absolutely hoping that we have a contract resolution between the front office and him moving forward. He is a leader. He's a great person, a great teammate, someone that you definitely like to have on your team. And it would be a win-win situation if Pat Bryant blows up and he shows that he can, be wide receiver one, or if Devon Vele takes that step and he shows that he can be wide receiver one, or really anybody. That's a win-win. Doesn't mean that if you pay Courtland Sutton that can't happen. So it's wins across the board if we get that, which I'm always going to be a big fan of. Let me know what y'all think below, man. Do you think this is ultimately going to result in a distraction, or do you have faith that Sean Payton and George Payton can get this deal done and number 14 will show up to training camp ready to roll, fully locked in, and just excited to make plays for Bo Nix? Let me know what you guys think below in the comments. Until the next video, man, y'all take it easy. Go Broncos, and peace.